Welcome to the presentation on the concept of practice-led and practice-based, that is, acts-based research. Presenter Keteku Wisdom. Research in higher education is defined as a creative labor done methodically to expand the body of knowledge. This knowledge includes understanding about people, their culture, and the society. Also, the application of this knowledge to develop new applications. Smith and Day, 2019. This implies that although knowledge is produced through investigation, knowledge is assumed to be a given. This definition implies that knowledge is transferable. That is, it can be understood and then applied by others in a way that is fundamentally consistent with the original and generalizable and applicable to some other process or events. So, therefore, in this case, research must be viewed as an activity that can take of many forms across the range of practice and study, rather than a single entity. Research can take three forms. One, the research that is done in the process of creating an artwork. Secondly, research that is basic and conducted independently of creative work. In this case, it may be applied to the research method. Or the third one, research that is the documentation. And the documentation is talking about theories and the context or contextualization of that particular artwork. Not only the contextualization, but also the process of creating that particular artwork. So, these days, there are some terms like practice-led research, practice-based research, creative research, or practice as research. These are frequently used to describe creative work done in the university setting. These terms serve as a tool to describe the way in which ideas might emerge from practical works, and these practical works include those that come from creating creative works and or from documenting and theorizing these particular creative works. Now, practice-led research, it can foster the development of original research and creativity work methods. The creative practice can result from academic study. Practice-led research and research-led practice are linked in an interactive, in a cyclical way, rather than being seen as distinct process. Now, the term practice-led research. and its variants, practice-based research and practice as research. These are all used to present two frequently or overlapping and related claims about practice. First, that the creative work is a type of research and of itself and produces measurable research outputs. And secondly, that the creative practice, dedication, and specialized knowledge creative practitioners possess as well as processes. In doing this, they engage in while creating arts that can be produced, specialized in that particular research. Smith and Dean come with this. Now, all the second argument that we just listened to focuses on the insights, the conceptualization, and theorization that might emerge when artists reflect on and record their own creative process. The first argument underlines the creative practice in and of itself. Though the both phrases are sometimes used much more loosely, like practice-led research is about practice, which is leading to a particular research discoveries. Whereas when you talk about practice-based research, it uses creative activity as a means of conducting that particular research. Candy, 2006, accepted in Smith, and then 2009. So it seems that practice as research can best be interpreted in terms of a broader view of creative practice, which includes not only the artwork, but also the surrounding and the theorization and also the documentation. In the discourse of practice-led research, the idea of the artwork as research and the artworks plus surrounding documentation as research, these all occur with different degree of emphasis in the work of different commentators. Though you have individual contributors, they may use these and related terms rather than differently when the term practice-led research is used. When the term practice-led research is used, it refers to both the artistic creation as a form of research, as well as the process of creating the work as producing research insights. And this research may then be documented, may then be theorized, and also generalized. The term research-led practice. This particular term is used to supplement the practice-led research, and in doing this, it makes the clearer suggestion that practice-led research. So, the scholarly study can inspire the creative work of the artist. So, you realize that we see its roots in the modern sciences or engineering. or a lot of technology around us, sometimes in medical research paradigms. And in doing that, the goal of the research is to produce a particular or a useful product. These products may be physical machines, pharmaceuticals, in addition to clarifying ideas that can be proven false. However, the research-led practice has the potential to be crucial in the creative arts as well as primary in sciences. The practice-led research implements methodologies, and these methodologies, they move from unknown to the known, rather than more traditional research methodologies, which normally move from known to the unknown. So, Smith and Dean also emphasize the process of data creation rather than the collection. So in doing practice-led research, you create the data rather than collecting the data. Now, art-based research. When we talk about art-based research, the word art itself encompasses a broad range of items and methods. Greenwood, 2019. Art forms are often used in indigenous societies, and it is used as the main means of recording and processing important information. And this information normally is about the connections of that particular community. In contrast to the cerebral and linguistic methods that have typically dominated the Western discourse of knowledge arts, products, and process enable and even inspire art makers to explore. And during this exploration, they also play with knowing and meaning in various ways that are more visceral, and it can also be very, very interactive. This encourages viewers of arts to engage with presentations, and this presentation happens through their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, and their sensations. Isna, 1998, as started in Greenwood, 2019, argue that because human knowledge is a contracted form of experience, it is a reflection of the mind and as well as nature, that the knowledge is made, not simply discovered. The knowledge is made and not simply discovered. So, when the knowledge is made and not discovered, this will tell us that engagement of artists An art-based research project with aesthetic understanding and discursive explanation is one of the features. Understanding of whatever they are going to do, understanding of a particular project, discursive nature of that particular project, ability to explain that particular project, the features and the characteristics of that particular features. In this context, it refers to the way in which senses and our emotions, these are all combined with intellectual processes and use this to create a synthesis or semiotics and meanings that are ingrained in cultural consciousness. And these meanings are utilized in different ways by this particular artist and to react to artistic creation. So these intellectual processes, their senses, their emotions are used to create a synthesis and to come up with a particular artistic creation. According to Esna 1998, Levy 2017, Sullivan 2010, and Satet and Greenwood 2009, state that creating arts entails some research into the creative process as well as into a particular facet of experience world. So, an art-based research. The project design is fundamentally influenced by some factors, and these factors influence other types of research. When we talk about studio-based research, the studio-based research within the academic, typically it involves the production of a cohesive body of work and a written component, which is referred here as exegesis. That is Marshall 2010. So Sullivan 2005, I started in Marshall 2010, argued that the imaginative and intellectual work undertaken by artists is a form of research. So any imaginative and intellectual work undertaken by a particular artist, it is a form of research. Now, let's talk about prices, which is a reflexive studio practice. When we talk about prices, it's a voluntary or a goal-directed action, and this action will refer to an action done for its own step. Praxis here is the application of theory to things we experience, placing the practical above the theoretical. So here in practice, the focus is on practice, and we place this practice above theory. So the degree to fit a research project exhibits critical reflection and articulated visual thematic positions, threads, or ideas that are consistent and that are technically, aesthetically, formally, or conceptually interesting, or they are challenging and can be used to evaluate prizes, which is the voluntary or goal-directed action in studio-based research. So in studio-based research, we are expecting aesthetic, technicality, conceptuality, interesting work, challenging works in studio-based research. Additional factor or factors that can be used to evaluate artistic creation include the invention, the expression of the artist, the skills of the artist, the relevance of the work, self-critical competency, and the originality of the work of the artist are the factors that can be used to evaluate the artistic creation. Now, let's talk about the exegesis. This is a reflection approach to theory. It is a written component of a visual arts inquiry known as exegesis. It progresses simultaneously with the body of artwork, and during exegesis, it documents and expounds upon our observations, upon our descriptions, and our analysis. Now, let us now look on the connections between the praxis, which is the practical aspect, and the exegesis, which is the documentation aspect. So making art entails switching between the activities of generating, writing, and assessing. So depending on how they observe and react to what they are doing, artists choose to keep what is existing in their work. They choose to alter, or they choose to remove some parts of their works to come out with creative artifacts. So that is the choice of the artist. For example, as an illustration, does this view seem overly vivid? The artist will pose that particular question. When it is vivid, the artist can decide to keep it. If not, can alter or can remove it. How does the scan blind adjacent to this new stroke work? Is it in place? The artist can decide to remove or to alter. How quickly should I play this work of visual arts? So the artist will decide what to do. That means the work is in the hand of the artist and can decide to do all sorts of adjustments, replacements, improvements, alteration, and even removal of some parts of the works. This implies that creating hypotheses and making critiques are just such a part of creative process. So as being able to draw or edit photos on the computer or sculpt a metal. A research design for pseudo-based research. So now you must choose approaches that are more appropriate for carrying out thorough study involving pseudo-based practice if you want to establish synergy between praxis and exegesis. So here we can talk about the aesthetical action research, and this is a cyclic, open-ended, active process that involves observing and reflecting. So this is an aesthetical action research cycle. You realize that the beginning of the work is observed, then you reflect on what you observe, then you plan of how you are going to create this particular work. After that, you create. After creation, that's not the end. You continue to observe. So the aesthetical action research is a cyclic. It will go and come, go and come, go and come. Now, we also have the hermeneutic phenomenology. This one is a method that uses observation, description, and interpretation of the acts and art process, and helps to determine the underlying structures. We also have the thematic analysis. This is a process during which we attempt, and this attempt is to discern patterns. These patterns connect with both process and creative projects or events. So ultimately, this synthesis of praxis and theory is not only enrich the field of creative arts, but also it expands the horizon of research methodology. It is not limited to a particular research. It expands the horizon of research methodology, and is doing so is offering new ways, and these ways will help us to understand and engage with the world. Because if you are able to expand your knowledge to other fields of creative art of work, if you explore more, you understand the world and engage in the work of arts and creative works. Thank you.